Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. I'm Brett Chapin. That's Daisy Egan. If you have any questions for our amazing guest today, guys, Judy Norton, give us a call at 1-800-336-2225.
I'm way jazzed about this, by the way.
I am too. We have
cool.
Judy Norton from the Waltons in with us.
It's weird. It's like having a, I just feel like I kind of feel like I grew up with you, and here you are, sitting here.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Very cool stuff.
I still get starstruck.
Thanks for joining us, Judy.
My pleasure.
Judy is not only an actress, she also is a vocalist. She's a writer. She's a director. She's kind of a jack of all trades in the industry.
A Judy of all trades.
A Judy of all trades.
Wah, wah.
Well, let's just, I don't know, let's just, there's so much to talk to you about. Let's just start with what you're doing now, though, because you were telling us some really great stuff in the pre-interview about a film that you're working on called Last Chance Ranch.
Yeah, that's a film that I wrote. It's for an independent feature.
Mm-hmm.
And we got funding at the end of last year, and so it is in pre-production and is slated to film late spring, summer, something like that this year, probably for release in 2013.
Wow.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Is this your first screenplay?
It's my first screenplay that's been sold.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've written a lot of, I first started writing for theater. I worked with a theater company up in Canada for 8 years, and for all that time, we were responsible for writing and directing 5 original shows a year for this company.
Wow.
So I did that for 8 years. And then started writing for a couple of other producers, usually, strictly commissioned stuff. I need this many characters, this theme, and, I need it by this date. It'll open on this date. It'll close on this date. And, so a lot of that kind of writing work. And then, I was talking with a friend of mine one day a couple of years ago, and we were saying, let's make movies, It was just one of those silly, 4-hour coffee things. And Jeffrey, who's the executive producer on the project, and we're like, well, what kind of film do we want to do? It's like, well, something with horses, It's like, well, period stuff's too tough to do. It costs too much. Let's do something with modern day, like a ranch thing. So, we sat around and I said, well, we could do this, we could do this. And we both love music. And so it's got a whole country western soundtrack aspect to it. And, so there's going to be a lot of original music in the film as well. And
it's great.
so it grew from there.
And you're doing a cameo in it, too. You're playing a realtor?
I am, yeah. So I've yet to find out whether she's actually going to be Southern or not. I might have to dig back out my little Walton Southern accent for a little while.
What made you decide to not write yourself, the starring role?
Well, I did originally. Because originally this was going to be one of those kind of down and dirty things, let's get it done for no budget basically. And, it was kind of all right, well then I'll do the lead, and then it started growing and not that it's a big budget, but it ended up a little bit bigger budget. So then it became there was questions about, it wasn't something that I was exactly right for. And it was, they're like, oh, well, we probably should get somebody with, more. I have a lot of television credits, but I don't really have film credits. So then it was kind of well, maybe we need to get somebody with some film credits. And so it just kind of started moving around, and it was kind of look, do whatever you have to do. I'll take the cameo role. I'm that's what I get for, I wrote myself too big a part. So I wrote myself out of a part.
That's very big of you to actually be willing to do that. I don't know if I could do it if I had written it.
This is 5 months after the fact of having the initial bomb dropped on me that maybe you don't get to do the role you wrote for yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sylvester Stallone wouldn't have taken it.
Well, you know what? If I had been willing to go and find all the money myself, then I could have probably held the line on it. But I'm not someone who goes around raising, I'm not a finance person.
Right.
So from that perspective, to me, the opportunity to get my first film script produced was more important than holding the line. There'll be other acting roles. There are. I have other opportunities. So getting that done and being there, to support the project in whatever way I need to and can as the writer was totally fine with me.
It's more about the project than it is about you.
Yeah, it was more actually exciting to me to have the opportunity to get something I wrote produced from a film standpoint. So I was willing to, pass on the other because, this is something new. This is a new challenge. So it opens new doors to continue down that road. And I have a couple of other spec scripts that I'm working on now because of that.
Writing is such a hard thing, I find. I'm a writer as well. I mean, certainly not in any kind of serious professional way, but it takes so much discipline, you know, to sit down every day and say, I'm going to write today.
Yeah.
It's hard. And it's so solitary.
Yeah, and it takes so much longer than you think, you know. I mean, I'll sit down and some days it's just the flow of especially a first draft, you know, and I'm trying to get it done, and I might get to the end of the day and go, I got 8 pages written today, which sounds like nothing. But when
it's
you're
a
trying
lot,
to
yeah.
create real life situation and dialogue that flows and tells a story, it's a lot slower than I'd like at times.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be back to talk to you a little bit more of that.
Call in with your questions.
Yeah, 800-336-2225 on La La Land with Brett and Daisy on CRN Digital Talk.